Funding now on Indiegogo, it's Shadowbinders, our second chance offer to get 2 hardcovers of our classic webcomic delivered to your door. Steampunk, fantasy, and romantic comedy from Clownfish Comics. Go to Indiegogo, check out the link in the description below. Now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and it looks like the SnyderVerse will not be restored after all. There was news yesterday that DC is canceling the New Gods movie, which doesn't bode well for a continuation of Zack Snyder's version of the DCEU. We know that J.J. Abrams is coming in, and they're going to kind of reboot things, I guess. I gotta be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to this movie very much, given that the director did Wrinkle in Time. I'm not sure how that was going to play out, but it's definitely not happening now. So it seems like the only version of Darkseid we're going to see in the immediate future, as far as I know, is in the Snyder Cut. So we're going to talk about that. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 184,000 subs, hoping for 200,000 soon. The support is greatly appreciated. We do talk about movies, we talk about comics, we talk about animation, anime, whatever interests us that day. And, some of the biggest news in nerddom right now is the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the drama around it. There's a campaign to restore the SnyderVerse, and this looks like it's not going to happen. And I gotta wonder on some level if this doesn't, play into what Ann Sarnoff was saying, the head of Warner Brothers, that she was basically like, hey, the toxic fans and yada yada. We know the drill, right? She was like, we don't condone the toxic fans who are pushing to restore the SnyderVerse and all that. Is it really about pushing back against toxic fans, or is this a marketing ploy? Because they already know that the SnyderVerse is effectively dead. They gave people the Snyder Cut, probably just to boost numbers for HBO Max, if we're being honest, because they thought that would be a quick way to boost numbers. But I don't think we're going to do any more with the SnyderVerse. I think it's going to be standalone DC films from here on out, and the J.J. Abrams reboot universe. So we'll talk about that. So this is coming from Fansided winteriscoming.net, and we're going to pick up a few articles here and talk about it. DC Films shelves its upcoming Aquaman spinoff, The Trench, as well as Ava DuVernay's New Gods, bad news for fans hoping to restore the SnyderVerse. Variety reports today that DC Films has canceled 2 future films in the DC Cinematic Universe. New Gods, a movie about Jack Kirby's Fourth World, which would have been a Darkseid movie, basically, and The Trench, an Aquaman spinoff from director James Wan. I can't say I'm too broken up about The Trench, which would have followed a group of fish monsters glimpsed briefly in 2018's Aquaman. Yeah, I had no interest in that movie at all. I'd heard about, I'm like, why are they doing, if you're going to do an Aquaman spinoff, why can't we get like Aqualad or something? Let's not do a Mera movie for sure. But who knows? New Gods looked intriguing, though. New Gods lived on the twin planets of New Genesis and Apocalypse, the latter of which is ruled by the tyrannical Darkseid, who featured in the recently released Justice League from Zack Snyder. With that movie a hit on HBO Max, you'd figure DC might want to lean into it. Also, DuVernay is a talented director. I did not like Wrinkle in Time. Sorry. Giant 400-foot tall Oprah Winfrey. We had Reese Witherspoon turning into a Pokemon. It was not the book I remember, and that's not because of racist reasons or anything for the race bending. I think you could actually bring that book into current year. I just don't think it was done terribly well. And Giant 400-foot Oprah Winfrey, I was out. I'm like, yeah, this is one of my favorite books as a kid. And I'm like, yep, I'm out. It looks like the studio's moving on instead. Ava DuVernay on Twitter says, Tom King, by the way, Tom King, comic book writer Tom King. Tom, I loved writing New Gods with you. I'm upset that the saga of Barda, Scott, Granny, Highfather, and the Furies ends this way. Diving into Kirby's Fourth World was the adventure of a lifetime. That can't be taken away. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being a friend. Comics Beat has more of that conversation. with Tom King answering her, "Ava, I'm so incredibly proud of the work we did. It was such a joy seeing you bring your passion and talent to these characters. I really felt Kirby's legacy was being honored here, and I wish we could have kept going. That one Barda Scott scene where, damn. Comic Speed goes on to say, let's face it, the idea of bringing Jack Kirby's sprawling and delirious fourth world to the screen under Duvernay and King was just too good to be true. Granny goodness, we hardly knew you." So yeah, it's not happening, guys. It's not happening. Back to fan-sided, you could argue the writing has been on the wall for a while as DC has been retiring the remnants of the universe Zack Snyder set up with 2013's Man of Steel. Robert Pattinson will play a new Batman in The Batman. We've heard of a new Superman projects in the work. Sans Henry Cavill. There's a third Wonder Woman movie on the way with Gal Gadot, but the studio has made it clear it will be the third and final movie in a trilogy. Ezra Miller will be back as The Flash, complete with Ben Affleck for one more movie as Batman, but most likely to reset the whole DCEU and try something else. Overall, it looks like the team is moving ahead with plans to make a superhero universe a little more decentralized than the one over at Marvel, where everything is presided over by mastermind Kevin Feige. One of these things has been more successful than the other. I think with DC, as much as I did like the Snyder Cut, I thought it was a good movie. Definitely more watchable than the theatrical cut. I think DC really jumped the gun. I think they really tried to build their own Marvel, and they weren't really ready for it. They didn't have a long-term roadmap. It was just like, okay, we got like 1-2 movies. Now we're going to go right to the Justice League. And, it was kind of all over the place. And it felt more reactionary. I mean, I was not on board with the DCEU until the first Wonder Woman movie. And I liked Wonder Woman. I liked Aquaman. I did not care for Man of Steel that much. I did not like Batman versus Superman, although now, having watched the Snyder Cut, I think I can appreciate it more because it does feel like a precursor to that movie. But it's been all over the place, and I just don't think DC's really found its footing yet. And they have some hardcore Snyder Cut fans that would support, Zack Snyder going forward, Snyder being the Kevin Feige of DC. Clearly, the support is there, but they're going to go in a totally different direction, and it's to their own detriment. We're going to talk about their comic book contest thing they've got going on too. Like, they're trying very, very hard to look like they're trying to please the fans, but in reality, they're not really that interested in it anymore. I think they did, again, the Snyder Cut got made to get people to go to HBO Max as kind of a marketing ploy, a loss leader. They're like, what's the most requested thing in all of Warner right now? And that would be the Snyder Cut. Let's give that to people. They'll jump on HBO Max. And then, we're going to pull the rug out from underneath them and just reboot everything. Given how hard Warner Brothers failed when they tried to ape Marvel's style with the past several movies, can't say it's a bad idea. I don't disagree, but it seems like they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Ann Sarnoff said, we want different voices in the mix. Well, they don't want Ava DuVernay in the mix, I guess. They want to kick her ass out, anyway, for certain fans that want singular voices, they may be disappointed, but we would ask them to be patient and see what we've got in store, because perhaps the newer voices in the mix will have just as compelling stories to tell. This is kind of I gotta be honest, this is kind of a backhand slap to Zack Snyder, because he has been out there promoting the hell out of Justice League himself. He's kind of gone rogue, and I think that's what led to a lot of the drama with, the Geeks and Gamers channel and all that, is he is out there on live streams promoting his own movie. I think he's trying to get, the SnyderVerse restored, because I would like to see that. Again, I did not like the theatrical cut of Justice League, but the Snyder Cut was very, very good. I would like to see more. And what's going to happen is, look, the Snyder Cut crashed HBO Max. It was massively downloaded. So far, the fan reaction has been generally very, very positive. Again, ignoring the drama going around, with the live streams and all that. And I think it would be a really stupid move for DC to reboot everything at this point. Now, they're not talking about rebooting everything. But, because, we still have Wonder Woman, we still have Flash. But after Wonder Woman and Flash and Aquaman are over, that's pretty much it for the SnyderVerse, or the remnants of the SnyderVerse. So this is coming from, we got this covered. DC reportedly doesn't want the SnyderVerse because it's too dark. It is pretty dark. I mean, it is. But it mirrors the tone of more recent DC comics. If I'm being honest, I mean, I think Zack Snyder's stuff is very grim dark. But I mean, if you're going to do a story, I mean, honestly, if you're going to do a New God story, he would be the one to bring in for that, because it's a pretty dark story. So according to tipster Mikey Sutton on We Got This Covered, Warner Brothers doesn't want to keep on with the SnyderVerse. Obviously, they're canceling New Gods. The higher-ups firmly believe that the SnyderVerse is too dark and they want to keep things more fun moving forward. Again, trying to ape Marvel, I think. Marvel is more lighthearted, but, we saw what happened with the lighter Wonder Woman 84 compared to the original. It came off as a parody, It wasn't a good movie. So Sutton cites Wonder Woman 84, Shazam, and Birds of Prey as the desired tone, but they're all technically part of the SnyderVerse anyway. Patty Jenkins' Amazonian sequel takes place before Diana Prince teams up with Batman, Superman, and Dawn of Justice. Billy Batson is a huge fan of Henry Cavill's Kryptonian, and Harley Quinn came face-to-face with Ben Affleck's Dark Knight in Suicide Squad. It's a canonical mess, but one that probably won't be resolved anytime soon. I think what they're going to do is just, shut it down, finish up the movies they have. But it's like, what incentive is there to go see these movies if they're not going to go anywhere? What incentive is there to watch what are basically just kind of the hangers on, of the SnyderVerse if they're not going to actually follow through with it? I don't know. I think you're going to lose the fans. So reportedly, even Dwayne Johnson has contacted Warner Brothers about restoring the SnyderVerse. Again, this is another rumor coming from We Got This Covered, so take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, he actually was interested in seeing it. The Black Adam star is keen to keep the SnyderVerse alive, to the extent that he's reportedly spoken to the higher-ups at Warner Brothers about allowing him to play in the SnyderVerse sandbox. The Rock could even go over Warner Brothers' heads and straight to AT&T in order to plead his case, but the speculation has been so all-encompassing, we're still a long way away from finding out the truth as to what happens next. I don't think, The Rock's a big star, but I don't think he has that kind of power. Clearly, Ann Sarnoff was laying the groundwork for the unavoidable disappointment that is going to come. She's basically saying, the Snyder fans are toxic. Right? Snyder fans are toxic. We're going in a new direction with more diverse voices, except for Ava DuVernay. We're getting rid of her. And that's how things are going to be. And you're going to like it, fanboys. You're going to like it. You're going to like what we're doing with DC. Even if, it doesn't look anything like what you were hoping for. If we're going to effectively film this, maybe, the recent reboot at DC Comics, is that what they're going for? Are they going to do future state? They're talking about bringing in more diverse voices, different kinds of voices. Is this what we're going to get instead of the SnyderVerse? I got to wonder, was this the plan? Like, let's just come up with a cohesive comic book universe, and, we're going to make sure the comics and the movies kind of mirror each other in tone and characters and all these new characters or whatever. I don't think it's going to go very well. Speaking of which, DC Comics is asking its fans to vote on various pitches to determine its new series. They're doing this in sort of March Madness format here, a round robin. I'm like, does anybody care? Let's go see if anybody actually cares about this. So this is the official DC Comics Twitter, and we've only got 1,000 retweets and 2,000 likes. I got to see what the comments are like on this, because look, DC's clearly not listening to fans. Now, this is the same DC Comics that, it's pulling the plug on the SnyderVerse when it's been proven to be incredibly popular. And they're also going in a totally different direction with the comics, with the YA graphic novels like I Am Not Starfire, which nobody cares about, right? And they're laying people off like crazy at DC. Like, DC doesn't know what the hell it's doing. They don't know what they're doing. Wow, a lot of these are actually DC just responding to itself. Wow, there are some responses, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So I mean, they're trying to make an attempt like, yeah, we still listen to the fans. I don't know, guys. I think DC at this point is rudderless. I don't think they really know what they want to do. This reboot they did just sounds like the leftovers of that 5G thing that Dan DiDio was doing. It doesn't sound like they really know what they want to do with the movies. They just don't want them to be dark. But again, at the end of the day, money talks, viewers talk, audiences talk, and the Snyder Cut has been incredibly popular. I personally think it would be a really stupid decision to just start over, but hey, they haven't made a lot of smart decisions when it comes to DC in the last couple of years, so who the hell knows? I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.